Have you ever written a letter to God, or any message, or any correspondence? I don't think so. Well, this chapter is a chapter about a letter to God. The letter to God is written by Lencho, who is a farmer. And this letter to God is a correspondence with God. Usually, we always have a one-to-one conversation with God, don't we all? We ask God, why me? In difficult times, we say, why me? When something good happens, usually we thank God. But have you ever written a letter to God? Lencho writes a letter to God. This is a story by the author G.L. Fuentes. He is a Mexican author, and so the chapter has a Mexican flavor to it. So you will find words like pesos, a unit of currency in Mexico. Mexico is a Latin American country. So G.L. Fuentes writes about Lencho, who is a farmer. He is a hard-working person, a very hard-working man, and a very strong man because he's been compared to an ox, a very strong animal. So Lencho is a farmer who works in his field day and night. And what happens to Lencho? His fields are sown. He has sown his fields, and as a farmer does, he's waiting for the rains. He keeps looking towards the sky for a good downpour. Farmers usually have this, they are very intimate with their fields. They know their fields well. They are like children to them. So he and his family work day and night on the fields, and he's waiting for a downpour. And he knows, a farmer usually knows when it's going to rain. So expecting a downfall, he goes in when his wife calls him, and then there is rain. And when it rains, his children run out exposing themselves into the rain. And they are so happy because the rainfall is going to bring a good harvest. But suddenly, the rain changes. It changes, and then there is a hailstorm. You know what hails are. Hails are small pieces of ice. And his entire cornfield is covered with hailstones. It looks as if it is covered with salt, a curtain of salt. A farmer who has worked day and night to see his fields destroyed like that, Lencho is totally devastated. He says to his children that a plague of locusts would have left more than this. So locusts are a tropical grasshopper, and when they come in swarms, they destroy the entire field. So he feels that locusts would have left more, but the hailstorm has destroyed everything. And all his hard work is in vain. So that night, the entire family is very sad. They are very disturbed. They cannot sleep. But they know there is one hope, and that is help from God. Lencho has total faith in God. This entire story is about faith. He has faith in God. He believes that God can see everything, even what is deep inside one's conscience. What is conscience? Conscience is like a policeman inside us who tells us what is good and what is bad, what is right and what is wrong. And God sees that. Okay, so Lencho believes that God can see everything and anything. So he decides to write a letter to God and ask for just 100 pesos. Now, why is he asking for that 100 pesos? Not to live a comfortable life, not as compensation, but so that he can sow his field again. He can work again on his field. And with much thinking, he writes a letter to God. And on the envelope, he writes to God. And he goes to the post office early next day and he puts in his envelope with a stamp to God. Now, the post office employees, when they see this letter, they just cannot believe their eyes. Imagine a letter with an address to God. Never in his career has the post office employee seen such a letter. So he starts laughing and he takes it to his postmaster. But the postmaster also starts laughing. But at the same time, he gets serious. He imagines that a man who has such faith in God, so he does not want to shake Lencho's faith in God, so he decides that he will answer the letter. But to answer the letter, is ink and goodwill enough? No, what he needs is 100 pesos. But he has made a resolution. What is a resolution? A resolution is a very firm decision. So he decides that he will stick to his resolution. And to do so, he has to ask for money. So he himself gives a part of his salary. As charity begins at home, he gives a part of his salary. Some employees give, his friends give, and so they all can collect not 100 pesos but just 70 pesos. They put it in an envelope and he doesn't know what to write. So he writes to God. And they put the envelope there in the mailbox. Lencho arrives earlier than usual. And he does not have any surprise when he opens the envelope and sees the money in it. Such is his confidence. He has so much confidence in God. He knows God will not deny his request. God will help him surely. But when he sees the money, he asks for paper and pen, and with much wrinkling of his brow, he is thinking what to write. He writes something and he puts the letter back, puts a stamp, affixes it, and puts the letter into the mailbox. Now, the post office employees and the postmaster are all eager to know what Lencho has written, because the postmaster is now wondering. He was waiting to see the expression on Lencho's face, because when you do some good deed, you expect the other person to be happy and smiling. When they open the letter, they are surprised. What has Lencho written? Well, I will read that out to you. Lencho has written, God, of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest, since I need it very much. But don't send it to me through the mail, because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. Lencho. Now, it is very ironical. Now, what is the irony? Here, irony is something that when you expect something, just the opposite happens. So, the postmaster here is expecting Lencho to be thankful, show gratitude, be happy. Instead, Lencho calls them a bunch of crooks. So, it is ironical. Lencho has complete faith in God, and he has never seen God in his life. But he does not trust humans. He does not trust the post office employees. So sometimes we do not know who is helping us. God has his own ways. If you trust in God, God is going to help you. But you need hard work too. Now, there are many components, grammar components in this chapter, like relative clauses, metaphors, which we will deal with in your next tutorial. As